Well, Happy New Year, everybody. Welcome to Playing with Perspective, the Suspended Animation Podcast. Hope you've had a fantastic break and you're raring to go for 2021. We've got loads of great guests and loads of great episodes organised for you this year. So today it's episode 135 with none other than Stephen Franks. And we're going to be chatting all about why your business processes and systems will determine your success. So Stephen, good morning. How are you?
I'm well, thanks, Darren. How are you?
Very well. Did you have a nice break?
I did. It was great.
Yeah,
The relaxation, catching up with some family and friends, just in Sydney.
absolutely. No, that's fantastic. Me too. Now, for everybody out there who hasn't met Stephen before, Stephen is the founder of Higher Purpose Accounting Advisory, which helps service-based small businesses, particularly in health, wellness, disability, and not-for-profit, realize their higher purpose. He helps them identify business processes hindering business performance and streamlines these to improve efficiency and sustainability while educating and providing accountability. Stephen has 25 plus years experience in accounting and business administration with commerce, public and not-for-profit sectors in both Australia and the UK, working for large and small organisations prior to commencing his business a few years ago. He's also the author of a #1 Amazon best-selling book, How the NDIS Can Work for You. So Stephen, welcome to the show. Looking forward to having a great chat about business systems today, which is going to be a great topic to get everybody set up for this year.
Yes, and thank you for having me on your show, Darren.
Mate, my pleasure. So, I'd
That's great.
love to hear your story. Obviously, you've been working for large organizations in the corporate world for some time. What were the things that made you decide, nah, I'm going to leave and start my own business and help small businesses do it better?
Okay, so it's been a lot of years working as an employee or a contractor, learning skills and gaining experience across commerce, public and not-for-profit organisations, both in Australia and the UK. And, it was across a range of environments, communication, training. I worked for Sydney Airport for a while, recruitment, the environment and health. And much of it was looking at how things could be improved from a reporting to processes and systems, and including automating manual processes and things like that. So I felt that I could offer my services to businesses themselves as an advisor and help them improve all these sorts of areas.
Perfect.
So basically, it's helping frustrated business owners establish robust financial administrative management in their business so they can find efficiencies and help them achieve their higher purpose and simplify complexities that that they have or they feel they have within their business.
Nice.
And I have particular focus on the health, wellness and not-for-profit, as well as the disability sector as well, because they're great client-facing organisations, but generally they need their admin and finances improving in some way.
Definitely. I think we all do. I love that phrase, higher purpose. Tell us, how did you come up with that and what does that mean really for you?
Okay. I came up with it because at the time I was thinking, I guess, about what it was I wanted to achieve, in my life and in my business. And I thought, well, I could use that as a name to show my values to prospective clients. Because at the end of the day, they got into business for a particular reason and they wanted to achieve certain things. And so I saw that as their higher purpose.
Love it. Fantastic. And obviously it's something that you always use to reiterate and hit home with your clients to help them make sure they're on the right track. Because we tend to fall into the rhythm of things, but we don't always know if we're going in the right direction.
That's for sure, Darren.
So, I mean, obviously, you're very big on systems and processes, and a lot of the time we get excited about the strategy, about the ideas, about the concepts, and then we think about what we might be able to achieve down the track, but we forget to put in all those great systems
Yeah.
and automated systems as well, I suppose, that are going to help us grow. So, why are they so important? Maybe tell us a bit more about your take on why systems are so crucial.
Well, basically, I see them as they're the things that are going to actually help you achieve those visions and goals and all that high level strategy stuff that you're wanting to achieve. And in order to do that, you need to have good financial habits. You need to, these things will actually help you achieve your financial and administrative goals. They'll help you meet your compliance requirements, like your taxes and your stay on the right side of the law and that sort of thing. They'll protect you from adverse circumstances like running out of money.
Yep.
And they're going to help reduce your stress and give you peace of mind and all that sort of thing. And I think there's 6 key things that I look at within businesses that I see as important. And I think the first one is cash flow is king.
Yep.
So businesses need to have cash flow, and they need to have cash flow forecast that monitors what's coming in and what is going out, against their projections, against their bank account, and it needs to be updated on a weekly basis. The next thing is about automating things where you possibly can. So, in your accounting system, having bank feeds and things like that set up, because it's going to reduce human error. And also, things like systems around your clients have their the invoicing process set up so that when it's going to happen, when you're going to get paid, and automated things around that so that you're not having to get on the phone every 5 minutes trying to chase up the money. Mm-hmm. And another things like email templates and calendar invites and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you want to try and reduce your human energy as well and your spend, because there's so many other things to do these days, particularly for small business.
Definitely.
Automation is key.
It certainly is. Yeah. So, those sorts of things. Keeping in regular contact with your accountant is really important. Many small businesses in particular, they're only in contact with them every 3 months, and it's more for the compliance things around, BAS and payroll and those kind of things. Yeah. Income tax at the end of the year. So what that means then is there's no time spent on identifying where there's issues or taking advantage of opportunities and things like that. So it's important to work on those things with your accountant on a more regular basis.
Yeah, it's a great point actually, because I watched a movie years ago. It was called Dinner Rush. I loved it. It was a bit of a mafia movie with Danny Aiello, and he buys a restaurant, but he sits at this table always with his lawyer, and it struck me how important it is to have a good lawyer and a good accountant with anything you do in business, because they're your mastermind team. You've always got to be at arm's length, be able to call your lawyer or your accountant for advice, because there's always something that you're going to be needing to run by them over time. So it's a really good point.
Yeah, absolutely. And create a budget every year and review it monthly, quarterly, whatever works best for you, so you can see what it is you hoped as opposed to what actually happened, and you can make adjustments. Don't do what some people do. They create this thing and then they store it, and then at the end of the financial year, when they're getting towards the end of the year and thinking about the next, then they pull it out and go, oh, we didn't achieve that. So you can't do that. You've just got to look at it regularly and see what you can change. Things change, and business is dynamic. So,
definitely, 100%.
So running your financial reports regularly. So, from your software particularly your profit and loss and your balance sheet, and looking at that too against your cash flow forecast and things like that, seeing where there's variances and what adjustments you need to make. And then finally, checklists. I'm a big one on checklists. They help you not to forget things, but they help you have consistency, and they're a great tool for organising things and completeness of tasks and all that. So, and you need them for everything from reconciling your bank account or invoicing and collecting money from people, but also when you're onboarding clients and your marketing side of things. So all that sort of stuff. So you know what needs to be done, what order, and who's doing it. Especially if you've got employees or staff that are supporting you, then you need to know that, and it helps with delegation as well.
Yeah, checklists, like what's come to mind for me, checklists are great in forcing you to form great habits as well around business practice.
Yeah.
After a while, if you use checklists often enough, it just becomes a habit to do those things, and that's what will really keep you in check and make sure that you have everything planned for and forecasted for, and you never run into any surprises.
That's for sure. It's really sort of point. It's kind of accountability first, and then it becomes habit set.
And so, in terms of your area of expertise, how did you fall into working with those particular sectors, or is it a reason that you concentrate on a few of those sectors in particular?
I found at the start that many of those types of businesses were the ones that I was drawn to, or they were the ones asking questions or connecting with me. Mm-hmm. But also too, like my skill set and that works well to go with those people, and they also fit in with my values as well in terms of the higher purpose and helping others.
Yeah. So you tend to work with small to medium-sized organisations more so?
That's correct.
Yeah, and probably it allows you to get a little bit more, a closer relationship with those decision makers and really build strong foundations for working together for the future, rather than being just another name without a face.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you just become another contractor or something like
cog
that.
in the wheel of the machine.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, no, I love it. So Stephen, tell us a bit more about how you actually work, and if people want to come and work with you, is there a process involved? Is there a methodology that you take them through? What exactly can you do for them? So tell us a bit about how you work and what you do for your clients.
Yeah, okay. So initially, when somebody comes to me, we have a phone or a Zoom session just to understand a bit more about them, what they're doing, what they are looking for, challenges and things that they're having. And then from that, then we move on to either a face-to-face or a Zoom meeting, and we do a deep dive into identifying what the particular issues are that are affecting the business, what sort of opportunities they need. And I go through a number of questions and a checklist and all that kind of thing to see what sorts of areas they need assistance in. So yes, there's the financial side of things, but there's also things around, do they have a CRM? What marketing are they doing? They might be saying they're not getting any money coming in, but what sort of things are they doing to help it to come in?
Yeah.
So we're kind of looking at that, so that then it becomes this holistic thing, not just just kind of band-aiding or fixing just one part of it, but from other parts, I think. So then we put together a plan. So I do a mind map, and I create a prioritised plan of action against activities that need to be done and who's going to do it, and when, in what order, that sort of thing. And then I help them implement it. So, I guide them, I educate them, I organise or actually create the automations and that, and the documentation and things like that. And I also facilitate connections with other experts to look at those things that are out of scope of what I actually do.
Gotcha. Yep.
So yeah, so the focus is on sustainability, education, and accountability, really, so that things get done.
Awesome. It sounds like you don't only focus on the financial side, but also the holistic business side as well, and you can point them in the right direction and refer them to other service providers that might be able to help in some other areas as well.
That's for sure. I mean, all roads lead to finance, but there's all these other things that need to be done.
All roads lead to finance. I love it. Well done. And I'd love to hear a story about maybe, confidentially, of course, about a client that might have come to you, in disarray, without any processes, without any systems, and you're able to really set them up properly, and then their business is just flourishing from there, forever on. I'd love to hear a little story about that.
Yeah, sure. I guess one of them was these particular people who were they provide services in the mental health area side of things.
Nice.
And they'd come from being an employee and then a contractor.
Yeah.
And they thought, I can do this myself. So I need to get out there and do it. And yes, they were able to get out there and find themselves some clients and that. And they set up some sort of booking system, and I started seeing people, and people, create an invoice and send it out or whatever. But what wasn't in place was this holistic approach around how they were gaining the clients, but also the systems and processes that they needed in place in terms of getting paid, keeping track of their expenses and things like that, having information stored appropriately so that as they go through the year, one, they can refer back to it easily, but also two, at the end of the year, then there's those compliance needs and things that they needed as well. And I think also too, around not doing things just out of a spreadsheet, but having proper system in place around their accounting and around their client management and all that. So that was where I was able to look at these things and go, okay, well, these are what you're going to need to look at, and then put together a plan around it, and then sort out, the areas of greatest need, and then go on from there. And now they're at the point where they're not relying on the spreadsheet. They've got a proper system to actually put everything in, and things are coming in that are automated, and things are linked to the bank accounts and all this kind of stuff. So it's a whole lot better for them. And they're moving on. They're doing so much more.
And they still keep in contact with you regularly just for general advice and counsel?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, awesome. It's a really good point you made about choosing the right systems, because for me that's always a bone of contention. When you want to put together a new package or start a new software product or use some new system, there are so many products on the market, and I just don't know where to start. So it's nice to have someone that can actually say, for your need, choose this or this, rather than trolling through the internet, downloading a million trials and then setting all these things up that aren't going to serve you. And it's a nightmare. I've done it before, and it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it can be a great time waster, and also too, you just get a bit stressed out after a while.
Then you just give up. You say, forget it. I'll just go back to my spreadsheet.
Well, that's it. Yeah, they just have partially implemented things because they don't understand properly how to get the best out of it. So yeah.
Fantastic. Well done. Now, I believe you've just recently released a #1 Amazon best-selling book. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So tell us a bit about this book and how this book came about.
Okay, and I also have a hard copy version.
Oh, there we go.
As well. So, yes. So initially it came out as an Amazon Kindle book, and then a few months later, hard copy version as well. So, so basically the book is how the NDIS can work for you, and So the NDIS is the National Disability Insurance Scheme, and it's the biggest change in healthcare since the 1980s.
Wow.
And so it means changes for all Australians, particularly for people with disabilities, their carers and their families, and also for the providers and the government.
Yep.
And the participants now have greater choice and control over what sort of supports and things that they can have and who can provide them and when. Which, in the old system, there was an old block funding system, and quite often people would be just told, well, you can have this support, that support, or whatever, because that's offered in your local area. And so people were missing out.
Right,
So
wow.
it certainly opened the doors to people now in what they can achieve.
Awesome.
So
So it's kind of a good little snapshot into how the NDIS can work properly for you if you don't know.
Yeah, most definitely. When I wrote the book, it's to help the providers in particular to be able to navigate the system, because I want more businesses to be able to be successful, and that will in turn then bring greater outcomes for the participants themselves.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I saw providers struggling in this space, and with the new ways of having to do things, they had manual processes, or they had things in place that served the old system but not the new, so they weren't able to get things happening the way they needed to. So, and also too, sometimes their finance and admin and that wasn't their skill set. They're wanting to help clients and get the best outcomes for them. So it was about making things better for them. So that's kind of where the idea of it came from. But although the book is written for the NDIS providers, the concepts in the book can be applied equally to any sort of business anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
And any individual, I suppose, that wants to use and utilise the NDIS system for them too.
Yeah, that's right. So they get some understanding of that as well, because the book starts out talking about how the scheme works, what sort of opportunities there are in the system for participants as well as the providers, and what systems and processes and things you have in place, the importance of your planning and marketing and these strategies and things in place as well, and then connecting effectively with other providers as well, because these people quite often will need more than one type of support. So being connected to other providers in that space will enable them to help more people.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. So and so far the feedback's been all positive from the people who've read it, which is great. So I know that it's meeting the need of the people out there.
Well, it's a #1 best-selling book. It must be meeting the needs of enough people out there.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I'm assuming that it came about by the fact that a lot of your clients in the medical sectors were asking you a lot of questions about the NDIS and how they can use it and what the implications as well, etc., etc.
That's right. And then there was other people who were asking me questions about, they operate outside the NDIS, so they might provide health and medical services that they could provide to these people, but they could also be providing other services like marketing and finance or IT services, that there are a whole range of things that need to support the whole system. You can support even the government in some respects with certain things. So there's quite a scope of things that can be used and tapped into.
Fantastic. So it's the biggest change in the system since the 80s, is it?
It is.
Wow,
it's a big change.
That's incredible. Well done. Wow. And how long did it take to write the book?
So from when it was actually released to when I first started, it's a couple of years, but the actual writing of the core stuff would happen within about 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just making some adaptions, and then held off a little bit too because of the timing of things and that. So, and COVID hit as well. So,
So you launched it during COVID? Is that when you launched?
Yes, it was launched during COVID, but kind of after that initial wave of things happening.
Yeah. Oh, no. Well done, mate. Very commendable. Number one best-selling book on Amazon. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to know more about how the NDIS can work for them or their business, definitely check out that book by Stephen. But Stephen, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. Really appreciate you coming in. The first one for 2021. Maybe tell the audience how they can find you and connect with you if they want to talk more about how you can help them with their business.
Yeah, so they can pretty much connect to me via LinkedIn and Facebook, also on my website, and also too, you can look up my book on Amazon, and I have an Instagram page as well. So those are kind of the key areas where you can connect, and I can provide all those links to you, Darren, and you can share those with the podcast.
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, sure. And I think also too, before we kind of go, some, quick little tips or takeaways is, I think for a business, you need to have some sort of business plan, even if it's a 1 or 2 page high level sort of thing, because it's something you can work from, you can refine from it as you go.
Yeah.
And things may not necessarily work out as envisaged, but you make changes and you keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And I think the big things around the cash flow forecast, and it's really important to have that and to look at it regularly, at least weekly, to see how you're going. And it's something too that I can provide a link to a template as well if any of your listeners are interested in that as well.
Sure, that'd be fantastic. I mean, we've heard that expression for years. Cash is king, cash flow is king, and it is. I mean, it really is. So yeah, that would be really useful. I'll put that in the notes as well for everybody.
Okay, that'd be great.
Excellent. Well, Stephen, thank you again. Everybody out there, Stephen Franks, episode 135, first one for 2021. Loads of great shows and great stuff happening on the Playing with Perspective podcast for this year, so stay tuned. Thanks again for your loyalty and your everybody listening and viewing and sharing the posts. And just a little plug, if anybody likes what you're learning from the podcast, please give us a review on either Apple or on YouTube. That would mean the world to me, and then we can keep bringing you all these amazing guests and amazing content. So thanks again, Stephen. Really appreciate you coming in on the show. And everybody out there, have a great day, and we'll see you very, very soon for another episode. Bye for now.